There's a nice aerial view of the common denominator today on Let's Cook, Boston, because that's what we're doing today. All our food has Boston in the title. So the first thing we have to do, think about it, beans. We have to make Boston baked beans. So to make baked beans, it's very easy. Right here, first thing we're going to do is I'll show you these beans right here, because these are beans, some navy beans that we soaked overnight. And what it does is it really softens the beans. And you can see these are the same size beans. And you can see in my hand, the dried ones, how much they'll actually expand. So they'll increase by about 30%. It's a good idea to take the bean and soak them overnight, because what ends up happening is if my hand was a bean right here, here is where the bean was attached to the pod. That's called the hilum. This is the only place the water can get into. Whoa, no, 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 hello, okay. And because I don't know, because we're going to soften that opening. So unless the shell, okay, or the skin of the bean itself is broken, that's the only way that you're going to get water into the bean. Now to make these beans, very simple. All we're going to do is we just take our beans, put them right into our bean pod here, because we're actually going to bake these. Take our beans nice and out of the water. And what I did is right before this, I soaked these, but the water that I soaked these, I poured it off, and I just rinsed them one time. That will help with the, take away a little bit of the discomfort that beans might cause you. Next to this now, take some brown sugar in here. Take some cloves of garlic. I'm going to take some mustard here. Some regular cloves as well. Butter, molasses, oh, that's where the flavor comes from, wonderful molasses, a little bit of tomato juice there, also some water, and onions. Now the onions, we do need to cut the onions a little bit, so, but the onions, everything, this is going to cook in the oven for a good 3 hours. So the onions can be cut somewhat coarsely because they're going to actually dissolve into the beans. So then we'll just cut these down, pop these onions in here. You also need a pinch of salt, pork too. Oh, that's I knew I was missing the one thing. Salt pork. Now, if you don't have salt pork, you can also just use a little bit of bacon too. But we'll just take the salt pork, and in case you might want to remove it, you're going to cut it this way. Just take your salt pork. The flavor will go into it. We put this in. We stir this around, making sure that sugar gets dissolved. We're going to cover this. Pop this in the oven. Let this cook for about 3 hours. Now, I'm going to get this in the oven. I know the show's not going to be 3 hours, but we will take a break, and then when we come back, I'll show you exactly what they look like when they're done and coming out of the oven. Don't go anywhere. It's definitely Boston cuisine today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Welcome back to, you guessed it, Boston is in our food today. Now, we're making Boston brown bread. To make the Boston brown bread, I'm going to take whole wheat flour, rye flour, corn flour, salt, baking soda, and mix these together just to make sure all those dry ingredients are well put together. Then to this now we add our buttermilk and 1/3 of a cup of molasses. There's a 1/3, good. Beautiful. Not too sweet, because this is meant to be eaten with our brown beans. So just mix this together. Need a little bit more molasses in here, I think. And I think it's going to need a little bit more buttermilk too. It's a tight batter, but this just seems a little loose. So let me just get a little bit of buttermilk right here. We'll add a little bit more buttermilk to this. There we are. Just to mix it together. And we're just going to mix this just till it comes together. Good. There we are. Should be nice and tight like this now, because this produces a very dense bread. Great. Good. Now, normally you would take this bread and it's baked in a coffee can, or you can even steam it. It's more like a pudding if you steam it. It takes a while to cook. It's going to cook, steam for at least, about 45 minutes to an hour. If you're baking it, it's a little faster, but still has to cook a long time. And it's also dense, and it's going to come out moist. So what I like to do is I like to take this, just put it in a pastry bag. It's just easier for me because I have these beautiful molds right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bake these into the mold. So I'll just pipe it into the mold until it's about 3/4 of the way full. And once it's 3/4 of the way full here, then I would take a spoon with a little water, wet that so it doesn't stick, and just press this down into the mold so that I get a nice shape from this as it comes up. We're going to bake these for about 45 minutes at 350 degrees, and I already have some of them done. This is what they end up coming out looking like. And this is meant to be eaten with our beans. So let's get our beans out of the oven. Boston baked beans today on Let's Cook. We'll get our beans out here. Let me put these on a towel because they're hot. Show you what these look like. Oh, wait till you see how good these look. Oh, don't they look good? Absolutely delicious. Now, you know where Boston, the city itself, has a tremendous American history to it. And actually the name, or Boston was actually founded where there are 3 hills or mountains. There's only one left now, and not all of that is left. That's Beacon Hill. And it's definitely a melting pot of America. That's why I think these beans and brown bread with the fat back or the bacon, doesn't this look great? Look how good these look. I actually myself like to put a little bit of chopped raw onion on them too, with a little bit of this brown bread. Out of this world. Now, if you were born in the 50s like I was, or if you've ever been to a diner, you know how important it is, or how tasty it was, or is, to have Boston cream pie. We're going to take a little break, and when we come back, I'm going to give you my version of Boston cream pie. Don't go anywhere. It's definitely Boston recipes today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Boston on Let's Cook. As you can see the skyline there of Boston. What a great city and what a great dessert. Boston cream pie. Did you know Boston cream pie is the official dessert of Massachusetts? And it is actually not a pie, but a cake composed of 2 layers. Sponge cake and a layer of cream filling or custard in between, topped with chocolate. And we're making chocolate ganache. And I'm actually going to show you my version of this because I think you're going to like it. What I've done right now is I'm actually not making a sponge cake, but I'm actually making a genoise. So in my mixer right here, I took 6 eggs. I heated them to 110, 115 degrees, and I whipped them with the sugar. Now what ends up happening is you need to make sure that this ribbons when you drop it down. You see how this is ribboning when I drop that down? If we can get an overhead shot on that, that would be very helpful. See how it ribbons here? It should be ribboning. Great. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take my flour and I'm going to sift the flour. So we'll sift the flour right here. It's great. To this now, I'm going to take roughly about 1/3 of this. So I'll just take 1/3 of this. There we are. Keep that nice and clean. A little bit more. Good. Now all I'm going to do is take, and I'll use a whip here, just kind of incorporate this flour into my egg sugar mixture. Okay, good. That's all deflated now. I have the rest here now because now what I'm going to do is just put the rest of my egg sugar mixture in here, and we're going to use a folding action so we don't lose any more of the air. See, I lost some of the air, now I won't lose the rest of the air. I'm just going to come here and gently fold this together to get this incorporated. Turn the bowl, pick it from the sides, and just fold this to make sure that all that flour gets incorporated. I'm going to let this, because it's for my cream pie and I'm putting the custard in between, I'm going to let this be a little denser. Just fold this, beautiful, good. Now, once I have it like that, I'm going to take a hotel sheet pan like this, sill pads on here. We'll take on the sides here where it still might stick, I'll just take a little bit of oil, spray the oil on the side. Now this is the same dough that you would use for a jelly roll, same way. just take this now. I'm going to put this on to our sheet pan here. Good. Now, when we incorporate this now, or we spread this, we use a spatula like this, and all I'm going to do is just go like this and bring it to the corners. So it's nice and clean like this. Turn this around this way, do the same thing. I'm going to pop this in a 350 to 375 degree oven for about 8 minutes. When it comes out, this is what it will look like right here. Then all we do is we use a round cutter, and I have one right here, and I've already made some of these, so I already have some of these cut. All we do is we take our genoise like this, take a round cutter, we cut into these, and remove it. So I'm going to need, how many of these will I need? I'm making 2 of these, so I'll need 4 of these. So go ahead, I'll cut 4 of these out of here, removing these. And by the way, once you get this out, you need to make sure you keep this covered. And you can refrigerate this overnight, it'll refrigerate well. There, so now I have my 4 parts, or 4 pieces of cake that I'm going to need for my Boston cream pie. Next thing I need to do is I need to make a pastry cream to go in the middle of this. To make my pastry cream, I'm going to take my sugar, put it into a pot. I'm going to take half of my milk, put that, or 3/4 of my milk into the pot. The other part, I'm going to take my milk, put it in a bowl here. In a bowl with the milk, I'll take 2 eggs. Drop the eggs right in there. In with my sugar and milk here, I'm also adding, now this is arrowroot that I'm putting in here to dissolve, not cornstarch, just a little bit of arrowroot, because arrowroot is a modified food starch. I'm going to freeze this. If I were to use cornstarch or flour, it will weep out, and we don't want it to do that. So all I'm going to do with this now is bring this up in temperature so it's about 150 degrees. Just whip this, work it around. Just work it ever so gently. My stove is pretty fast, so this should come up quickly. And I'm going to check the temperature of this too. Not warm yet. I need to make sure that the sugar gets totally dissolved, the arrowroot is properly dispersed. Arrowroot's going to also produce a very clean flavor in this. So, and it doesn't take too long once it comes up in temp. Then I'll take some of my liquid right here, and I'll temper my egg and remaining milk mixture right here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a little bit more milk in here. So just, whoops, no egg in there yet. There we are. Good. Stir this around, break up those eggs while that comes up in temperature. When you're making pastry cream, you need to be very careful not to scorch it. You don't want to burn it because it can burn. It'll burn relatively quickly. The other thing that I would put in here right now is also a vanilla bean. So I'd take a vanilla bean and I would split it, and I'd put a little bit of vanilla bean in here. I just realized I didn't have it on the set here, so they're going to give me a little vanilla bean. I'll show you what that looks like. So there we are. It's almost up to temperature now. Good. Here we are. Here's my vanilla bean here. Let me just shut this off for a second. I'll show you what this vanilla bean looks like. Right here, I'll just take a half of one of these. Now this vanilla bean, what you end up doing is you end up splitting this down like this. Then the pieces that are in the middle here, you scrape these off with your knife and you just put them in, or you can put the whole vanilla bean in like that and strain it out afterwards. Whichever works for you. Bring this up here. Okay, you see how it's starting to steam a little bit now? Starting to get a little bit of steam. This is where we're going to take a little bit of this right now, temper my egg yolks. I'm leaving the vanilla bean behind there. Because with the vanilla bean, I actually need to take this out now because I don't want the solid piece in there actually when I make this. So let me take this little piece of vanilla bean out here. I already have the little pieces of vanilla in there. Come here now. Put this on the heat. You can see how this is already starting to thicken up. See how it's already starting to tighten up there? It's because it's tempered. This is where I have to stir this And I can't leave this now. I have to keep working this until it just thickens up, until it's the consistency of, let's say, loose Jell-O. Once it's at that temperature or consistency, and this almost is, I'm going to add some butter to it. So all I'm going to do now is just add my butter in here. The pastry cream is going to be hot enough to melt this. It's going to firm up in the refrigerator. So, put this right in here. There we are, beautiful. Take this, we cover this now with plastic wrap. So it looks like this, and when it goes into the refrigerator, you can see how it congeals up here. So you have some nice pastry cream right here that we can work with. But you need to make sure that you put the plastic wrap on it so you don't get a skin. Now we're finally ready for assembly. Now to assemble, I'm going to take my ramekins right here, 2 ramekins, a little bit of plastic wrap right here. I'm usually not too lucky with this, but we'll see. Little plastic wrap right here. We take our one top right here. We're going to put this in to the ramekin, making sure the plastic wrap is on the sides there. That way we'll be able to remove it. Take our pastry cream, put our pastry cream into this. Now with the pastry cream, you're going to take with a spoon and press and spread it so that it gets nice and flat. If it sticks a little bit, just wet your spoon, that way it won't stick to your spoon. Bring this all the way around. Take this piece of sponge, put it on top, press it in, drop it a couple of times, making sure there's no air at all. We close this up. This goes in the freezer now because I use modified food starch to actually thicken my pastry cream. Then we'll come over here. I already have one done right here. It comes out hard as a rock. We're going to take this out and we're going to coat this with ganache. But before I can coat this with ganache, I need to clean up my set here a little bit. Set these up on a rack. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, I'll show you how I finish Paul Dillon's Boston cream pie today on Let's Cook, where we're talking Boston cuisine. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where everything has Boston in it. Now we're going to finish our frozen Boston cream pie souffle. There's what I'm calling it here. I have some heavy cream. I'm going to bring this heavy cream up to a boil, and then I'm going to pour it into this chocolate right here. We need to make sure to make the ganache that the cream comes up to a boil. I also notice under the spatula here I have a little bit of butter in there, sweet butter. I like to put that into my ganache. I think it makes it taste better. Unless I can get really high fat content, heavy cream. So, see that now this is just coming to a boil now. So now I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to pour it into my ganache here. Good. Then all we do is we just stir this and make a wonderful, delicious, smooth, rich ganache. Okay. You have to make sure that the cream is hot enough to melt the chocolate. Okay. A little bit more heavy cream in here. I left a little bit back. I always do that every once in a while because you don't want to end up with chocolate milk when you're making this. So we'll just stir this now. The chocolate's going to start, see how nice that looks? Doesn't that look great? You see the great shine that we're getting on this? Beautiful. Wonderful, really nice shine. Use a good cocoa butter content chocolate when you do this as well. Great. Just going to take the rest of my cream. We only have about a minute left in show. You know, Boston is so important to America. It's so important to America not only because of the food, but it was a melting pot of America, and it's, I just love making some of the foods that are out of the Boston area. Let's go ahead and finish our Boston cream pies here. Look how nice this ganache is going to look once it goes over that delicious frozen Boston cream pie. And don't worry about the chocolate that's going off or running off my Boston cream pie here, because I can go ahead and take that and use that again and again and again. Thank you so much for watching Let's Cook today. Try this Boston cream pie recipe. I know you'll love it. You have a great day. Bye-bye.